What's up, everybody? Larry Hartstein sitting in for Coach, trying to run point on the live stream today. And guys, I just want to welcome everybody in right away. I think we're basically living the dream. We got the U.S. Open. We got Euro 2020. I got baseball on. I got NBA playoffs. I got NHL playoffs. I've got College World Series picks coming from AB Allan Bell, who makes his debut today. Sorry, I'm a little fired up. Let's get to it. Where are the guys? Jeweler, bring in the guys. There they are. Okay. All right. Making his first appearance on the show. You know, Mikey, you know, Justin. They don't need any intros. AB, what's going on?
What's up, boys? How we doing? It's a pleasure to be with you.
Great to have you. And Allan, basically, I know you do everything at CBS Sportsline, but what do you do, like, specifically?
Yeah, so it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff like supporting you guys, right? So anytime you see advertisements, marketing, really about all the expert picks that you guys throw out there, we try to put it out there and let everyone know exactly what Sportsline is, what we're about, why we're the best in the business. So, yeah. I could go on for 20 minutes, but yeah, that's about it right there.
Anyway, we love you. We love your energy. And we love those picks you've been giving out in the mornings based on the Sportsline simulations. If you follow CBS Sports HQ in the morning, Allan has those overnight picks that have been doing very well. But guys, I want to get right to it. If we get 100 likes on this page, we're giving away 1 year free to Sportsline. If we get 200, we're giving away 2 years. No, actually 200 likes, we're giving away 3 years, and 300 likes, we're giving away 5 1-year subscriptions. All you have to do once we get to the 100 likes is put over in the comments and your Twitter handle. You have to be following us on Sportsline, follow us on YouTube, and then we will give those subscriptions away right here on the show. It's a $100 value. And guys, I'm just so pumped up. And I want to talk right about that over 220. I kind of think we should have gone under, because let's talk about this series. Nets Bucks game 6. We saw the opening total for game 1 at 239.5, 240, depending on where you got it. And then looking at my notes, 238.5, 235.5, 229 for game 4, down to 222 for game 5, which pushed 114, 108. But the first 4 games under by 137 points. So should we be going under or over? I'll start with you, Mikey.
I actually lean over on this one. I've been under most of the series until it got to the last game. I actually did a stream with Justin on it where I had my number at 221, which is the point where we took the over and moved to 222 and pushed. I'm right back there today. I actually have it 223.1. The reason for that is I see big minutes for Durant. I see big minutes for Harden. I see thin rotations on both sides. And I think that's going to lead to increased offensive efficiency down the stretch in this game as long as it remains competitive. That's the only reason. But I like I said, just right at 223 is where I make this one, which is a far cry from the number you mentioned, 235, 238, things like that. So I think the market has most definitely adjusted to the pace of play and the efficiency in the series, and maybe has adjusted a little too far.
Okay, so Mikey with the lead on the over. Justin, what about you?
You know, I think it's going to be right there too. I know the sharp side of this game is going to be the under. I don't think that's how I'm going to approach this game if I'm going to play it, but I would probably agree with Mike. The number that this one came in at last time was 122. So I think it comes right about to that point again, but you're probably dealing with a sweat either way is my best prediction on that one.
I got to call a quick timeout before we get Allan Bell's. I just looked up and the Giants have 5 runs.
5 runs.
So if you are following us on Sportsline and not just on the early edge, Micah Roberts is on the Giants. Bowman is on the Giants. I'm on the Giants run line. Obviously, still a lot of baseball to go. But Mad Max, our new kid specialist, prop specialist, betting specialist, gave out today over 4.5 Giants team total. That's cashed already. So a great start. All right, Allan, go ahead.
Yeah, no, Mike's awesome. Like, Max is awesome. Mike, I'll say this. I'm going to go contrarian here on you, and here's the reason why. I look at, the under, it's hitting the Bucks' last 6 after a loss, and what I'm looking at is that you get the Nets looking at 2 games to wiggle around to win this series. Obviously, Milwaukee, they're, backs against the wall. They've got to do this thing. But again, I think that we're looking at a game 7, and I don't think that Durant is going to go for what he did. Obviously, I don't think he's going 40-plus points. I think there's going to be a regression there. And I just look and see it's going to be tight. I mean, it's going to be a sweat over under regardless of where you come in at. But I'm going to go around 216. I think that we see an under this one and probably an over in Game 7.
Interesting, guys. I've got some notes on this that I've been jotting down throughout the day. Follow a whole bunch of smart people on Twitter. And one of these guys, Kirk Goldsberry, I think that's his name, NBA analyst, had an unbelievable graph showing that when Giannis guards Durant, he has the lowest field goal percentage of any single player who has guarded him over the last 8 years, but yet he has not been given a chance to be the primary defender. But apparently is pushing for that after what Durant did. So that's one thing that might lean under if Budenholzer changes things up a bit. The other thing that I've been noticing, is just the Bucks. Their offense is terrible. They're not passing the ball. I think they've had one game where they've really shared the ball. I think it was Game 4, averaging 18 assists a game during the season. That was 25.5. Averaged over 120 points in the regular season, averaging 98.8 against what is not a good Nets defense. So but Mike made a good point. The rotations have gotten smaller. It looks like Pat Connaughton is like the only sub getting real minutes, and he's a good scorer. So I don't know. I just think the trends that we've seen. I'm gonna still lean a little bit to the under, but with everyone putting it in the over, I don't know where that leaves us. Let's get to the side already. Come on. All right. 5.5 is what I am seeing currently at William Hill. I think this has touched 6. I'm going to start with you, Mikey. Where are you going on the side?
Look, I think that this should be the game for the Bucks to win and force Game 7. I think the number is efficient and getting shaded towards the Bucks a little too much if it touches 6. I have it at 4.8 in the simulations. Very clear edge for the Milwaukee Bucks in this game, though. I think they force Game 7 and win, but I'm not laying -6 on it. I'm not super comfortable at 5.5. If I like the Bucks, I would have to get it down to 5 to lay it against the spread. But to Allan's point and to really everyone's point here, this would not at all shock me if this is a 15 to 20 point Milwaukee win. Just knowing if they get up that Brooklyn's going to be, okay, that's fine. Let's get out of town and get to a Game 7. So it's a high variance situation for sure tonight. So I'm not laying the -5.5 or 6, but if I did, it would have to be all the way down to 5.
Justin, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the same boat essentially. I see, the Bucks sort of correcting some of the issues that led to the Game 5 problems, right? I mean, the Bucks were up going into halftime by a relatively significant amount, and they just sort of came out of the half playing like too much ISO ball with the lead and allowed the Nets to sort of creep back into it and eventually make a run in the fourth quarter where the Nets dominated. But I'm going to go with the Bucks, minus the points. I think the variance that Mike's talking about is sort of where it comes in around the spread, but I do think that they should be able to get to that point where Brooklyn's like, all right, let's pull back. Let's save our resources. Let's not push Harden's hamstring any more than it needs to be. And let's recuperate and get ready for Game 7, which I think we all are expecting it to happen anyway. I mean, the money line is really indicative that the Bucks should at least win the game.
Allan, how about you? Actually, Justin, I want to jump in on what you mentioned, the
Please,
ISO ball.
please.
This thing has just been troubling me. The way that they have not been playing, running good set plays where everybody moves around and they have cuts. I mean, it's just been the ISO ball. And we saw it last night from Philly. They had Trae Young and Lou Williams on the floor, two of the worst defenders in the entire league, and they didn't attack them. I mean, if you watch their fourth quarter shots, I just think Doc and Budenholzer have a lot to be desired in terms of offensive sets down the stretch. All right, Allan, what do you got?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you guys. I think Mike, he nailed it right on the head. I think there's an opportunity here where the Bucks could blow it out late if, Brooklyn decides, hey, let's put some guys back. Let's set them on the bench. Let's get ready for Game 7. Like, that opportunity is there. But again, you look at Brooklyn, they're 8-2 against the spread in the entire playoffs. This run, they're 4-1 against the spread this series. It just scares me. That number's high. If it were down to 4.5, even 5, maybe. But I like the Bucks money line. I don't like this spread at all. I think this is an opportunity because you're going to pay a little bit of juice, obviously, with the Bucks money line. You might have an opportunity to, parlay that maybe with the Islanders or something. Not a big parlay guy, but I don't like 6. It's a little high for me. But the Bucks win this game. I'm going to ride the money line on this one.
Okay, I like that. I mean, I'm not laying 6, but I'm definitely leaning towards the Bucks despite all the criticism I just lobbied because, KD is not going for 49 again. That 3 was ridiculous. Are Blake Griffin and Jeff Green making 10 threes tonight? Is Jeff Green shooting 7 of 8? I know they have other guys that could step up. Joe Harris has kind of disappeared. Shamet's a good shooter, but Harden, and I want to get to props on Harden in a minute, but he doesn't look right. And I just think it's a pretty quick turnaround. He played 46 minutes. I don't see Milwaukee losing this game. And I think down the stretch, it will get out of hand a little bit and they can cover this number. I don't love it at 5.5, but I'm certainly not going to lay 6, but I definitely lean with the Bucks. And if you look on Sportsline though, Zach Simony, the contrarian, he's on the Nets. He's on the Nets plus 5.5. He expects Harden to look a lot better, in his second game back. So he's on the Nets, but Matt Severance, just for, equal time, he's on the Bucks money line. So we got a lot of different opinions in it. It's, who you trust.
They could both win.
They could
definitely both hit that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I see one of our commenters, Nathan Cerna, pointing out that, if it does get out of hand, why not save these guys for Game 7? And that's a good point. That's a good point. I just don't know if that's in Nash's, DNA to do that unless it's way out of hand.
Yeah, I think this one's a good live bet potential also. I think that if you watch the game and maybe look at some of the shooting percentages and the shots they're getting, I think you'll have some tells as to whether or not Brooklyn's going to be able to be competitive in the second half of the third quarter, which is, as we know, going to be the most important stretch of the game. So could be a live bet opportunity here if you're not comfortable with the money line at that price or the spread at that price.
Yeah. You know what? Let me say this. I think you're exactly right. And if you look at Kevin Durant, he scored 40-plus points 5 times this season. The last 4 that he did, 3 of those games, he scored 10 or more fewer points, and his free throw opportunities went down as well. So, again, I'm with you guys. It's a weird game. I don't know if all of Brooklyn's players can rise up to that level of what we saw 2 nights ago. Yeah, I'm with you.
That's a great point, Alan. I would love to see his field goal percentage and a total breakdown of what he does. I mean, there's never been a game, I don't think, where he's played 48 minutes and scored 49 points. But when he's had 40 plus, and I totally respect Nash for doing that because it was a must win. I do think Budenholzer could get fired, though, like before midnight if they don't win this game.
Yep.
All right, let's get into some props, guys. I'm going to start. Go ahead.
I wanted to give one little point on this. So Giannis has not had a game score above 30 for the series yet. And that KD's game score in game 5 was around 50 for reference points. So he hasn't had a 30 game score yet. So I really think that, he does come out of his shell and put on a performance that tries to rival what Kevin Durant did effectively with their back against the wall. The Nets effectively had their back against the wall. They couldn't lose game 5. So Giannis can't lose game 6. I'm expecting a big one from him. Definitely excited to maybe talk some props on him too.
Yeah, well, let's get right to it. I have a prop that I want to give out. First, I'm going to give this one out. And this is from PropStars. Alex Selesnik, our newest expert, joining us in July, but he's already, still putting out props every day on Twitter and cashing like crazy. He likes Harden over 7.5 assists. He laid the juice. He said he would play it over 8.5 for half a unit. And he notes that he had 8 assists and in game 5, and he's expecting a similar workload. I know. I just worry, what if he hurts himself? I do agree, though, he's not going to be a primary scorer. So right. From that angle, I love the play, and this guy is much better at props than pretty much anyone I know. So that's a prop we're going with for PropStars. And then Mad Max the Kid has already given this out. We gave it out on the morning show, but I'll reiterate it to anyone. It's under 24.5 points and rebounds for Drew Holiday. He just notes that he's facilitating more. He's struggling with his shot. Did have the great moment with the spin move to win that game. I think that was game 3, but he's going under 24.5 points and rebounds. So those are for Drew Holiday. Those are 2 props that we have locked in here. All right, Justin, what do you got?
Well, I just wanted to, Max hit that prop last night. What, in like 10 minutes? That Royce O'Neal prop?
Yeah,
that was crazy.
That was incredible.
I haven't seen something like that in a while. So that was a fun win for everyone who followed that one. So shout out to Max. I know he said he's watching today. So we love having you. Excited to keep him coming. So yeah, I'm really excited to maybe look into those Giannis props. I mean, you're probably going to take him on the overs. I think there's going to be a little bit of a personal performance tonight. He was slighted by the media in regards to not defending Kevin Durant at the end, not like being that defensive presence. So I think you see one of the all-time games out of him, or likely the Bucks aren't really going to win. So, I still think the Nets are going to come strong. They're not just going to give him a pass tonight. They're going to see what's going on. And if they think they can win, they'll go for it for sure.
His points are 33.5. His rebounds are 13.5 now. And looks like his assists are 4.5. I saw that earlier at 5.5. So massive numbers for Giannis. Mikey, any props jump out at you?
Yeah, as far as talking about Giannis specifically, I would lean towards the over on points, over on assists, under on rebounds. Just that number has crept up pretty high on the rebound total. Also one where if the game gets out of hand. But I think the real thing that's going to be super interesting in this game is I think with the Giannis side, I think some of the rebounds and some of the other things are pretty high variance. If he's feeling any pressure at all to guard Kevin Durant, we've seen it in the past in situations like this. Like, it's not going to shock any of us if Giannis picks up those 2 quick fouls in a situation like that. That's going to hurt his for the rebounding, especially that number, that just requires him to be on the floor for 42 minutes, right? So the points he can get there by getting hot, the assists he can get there in certain situations, but that 13.5 total requires him to be on the floor for 42 plus minutes, in my opinion. I think that he'll get extended there, but we've talked about it being a high variance situation. He may only play 35, 36 if this game does get out of hand late in the third quarter, like we think. So I think if one of them comes up short, I think that I would lean towards the rebounds. I've got him about 1.6 rebounds shy of that in the simulations. But as we've mentioned, it's really difficult to understand with a player like him. There's a massive difference in all of his props when he's playing 38 minutes versus 43, 44. Just because of the usage rate, because of how much he's involved, that extra 4 to 6 minutes is just absolutely massive for these player props. So I think that accurately forecasting how many minutes you think he's going to play is going to be critical here.
Mikey, are there any plus money props or any other props on this board that jump out at you?
There's one that I don't think a lot of people will like, but I don't hate it. And where was it? It's not. It dropped again. It was Bruce Brown over 1.5 assists. I know he's kind of with Harden back, and he's made some questionable decisions at times. He's someone that in certain situations might get some more run. If anything at all pops up with James Harden, the game gets out of hand in any way, he's coming in. He's going to mop up those duties. It's 1.5 assists at plus money. I believe, let's see where his points, rebounds, and assists total at 11.5. I like that one just a little bit as well. Just understand that if the game gets ultra competitive, Harden is fine. Like he may play 12 minutes total in the game, right? So that's where I'm leaning and looking for some of the plus money props, though. Bruce Brown.
And Bruce Brown came out on fire in this series, but, the last couple of games have been a disaster for him, or not a disaster, but 7 points, 2 points. But look, he's gone over that assist number every single game. Even when Harden was back, he got 2 assists in 13 minutes last time. So, but I do see the minutes went way down. You're right. If it's competitive, his minutes are going way down with Harden back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of that's going to depend on how healthy Harden really is, right? I mean, that's going to be a huge deal that we sort of don't know. He obviously wasn't 100%. He shot, 1 for 10 on Tuesday night? That's probably not what you want from your star. And if he's anywhere close to that, or close to that level of like injured or incapable to perform, I don't hate going under on the points. I know that's not a plus money prop, but you're getting it at 15.5. I don't know if he's getting to that point total tonight if he's not right. And again, I think you have that extra, liability of him coming off the court that adds potential value if, this gets out of hand towards the Bucks. Like, he's going to be the first one yanked to, keep him healthy for Game 7. So I'd lean under on the points prop for Harden, and I do agree with the over on the assists, though.
AB, what about you? Any props you love tonight?
Yeah, so, first off, let me say this. I think Mike absolutely nailed it. I think that, if you're playing any props, especially anybody from Brooklyn, that you have to understand that the minutes, especially in the second half of the fourth quarter, are going to dictate whether generally that you hit these or not. But I'm going to go back to Kevin Durant because, look, we look at his numbers after scoring, 40 or more points. Yeah, his shot opportunities probably going to go down. His free throw opportunities probably going to go down. What isn't going to go down, and historically has been pretty nice for him, are his rebounds, right? He generally goes up. Now, I don't think he's going to have 19 rebounds or anything like that, but looking at William Hill today, his rebound number was, I think it opened at about 11.5. It quickly dropped down to 10.5, went to 10. It's been hovering somewhere around there. I know the Sportsline simulation has it about 9 rebounds. I could see him getting to 12, maybe even 13, especially if his shot opportunities aren't as plentiful as they were 2 nights ago. But I could see him getting in the paint, getting some boards out there. So, yeah, if you can get a good number on Kevin Durant rebounds, 10, that's a great number, even 10.5. I think you're sitting pretty there.
Now, somebody's asking about Joe Harris three-pointers. Is that three-pointers made or three-point attempts? I'm assuming that is made. Yeah. Wow. How do you trust Joe Harris, after the last few games? I'm just checking up his exact figures the last few. Anybody have any opinions on Joe Harris tonight? Over 2.5 threes.
Oh, man, I think that's a pretty tough one. Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
I have an opinion on it. I don't like the juice at minus 135 on it, but my opinion here would be, this is something, it sounds a little crazy, right? Because they're obviously shorthanded, but it reminds me of a lot of when the Washington Wizards were playing Davis Bertans and someone like that, 35, 37 minutes, getting basically zero production. And then, like a switch, they had to make a change at some point. I actually believe there's some correlation to the Joe Harris prop and the Bruce Brown props. It wouldn't shock me at all if Harris is not producing. We already know that Jeff Green's picking up some additional minutes, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they get some more Bruce Brown out there and give him another chance to play with Harden and Durant. So I think that they're somewhat correlated. If you're not interested in taking the over here, I would definitely be taking the over on that assist prop for Bruce Brown at 1.5, as I think that there could be some competition as the series moves forward, because they're getting basically nothing out of Joe Harris, and he's played 37, 38, and 37 minutes in the last 3 games. So that's just my caution on that. Obviously, the minutes are there. Like, he should get up enough attempts to get there. I mean, he's taking 7 attempts in every game, essentially. But even at 7 a game, he's got to shoot at a baseline to where, where we expect him to be throughout the course of the season. For this to be a really, we want this number to be closer to 10 on the attempts, right? If you're trying to make 3 of them, you got to make 3 to win this bet. You want to, I want someone that only has to shoot 30% to hit my prop, right? So I'm not taking it at minus 135.
Yeah, I don't see how you could take it on the road. He was 3 of 13 in the first 2 games at Milwaukee. Anybody disagree? But I'm going to stay away from that.
I mean, I'll go contrarian on you, and I'll say that I think that, in this scenario where he's only hit 4 shots out of his last 20, that he very well could hit 3 out of 7 tonight. I don't think it's absurd for him to shoot close to 40 or 50%. Especially in a game like this where maybe no one expects him to, where they maybe aren't expected to be competitive, where maybe the pressure's off. He might be able to drain a couple threes. And like Allan has mentioned, Kevin Durant is not going to be taking that level of usage tonight. So, there could be even more shots available for him. I'm not going to go out there and say it's a play for me or say I'm going to go do it, but I don't think that it's a bad line. Like it's there at 2.5 for a real reason. It's going to be right there.
Guys, we got another question coming in, but first I got to encourage you, hit those likes. Let's get to 100. Let's give away that year-long subscription. I think we're getting close. Let's get to 100. And I have been texting during the show with Mad Max. One day when he's old enough, we're going to bring him on the show. I first going to have to ask his parents if that's okay, and if we can do it, from their house where I believe he's still living. But anyway, he is a Blake Griffin expert. He's had a lot of props cash on for or against Griffin. He's had some that missed, but he's been pretty good with Griffin throughout the playoffs. And we see a question over under 10.5 points. And Mad Max tells me right now that he has gone over 16.5 points and rebounds for Blake Griffin. He went over this with him in the last game, and he got to 20. He hit those threes. He got 17 points, 3 boards, I believe. I know he had that in the third quarter. I think he may have finished with that. So Max is back on that train. I don't know if he posted it, but personally, he has bet it. So that's the play from Mad Max. Guys, anything else we want to touch on this game before we get into some MLB?
I think we touched a lot of it. I like it. I think we covered it well.
I don't think we gave you like a consensus play from this group or from Sportsline, but I hope we gave you a lot of nuggets, some props we like, and that you can make the best play, for your bankroll tonight. I don't think we have anyone on here saying, I love the side or the total. Do we? Am I wrong?
I said he's on the money line. Right.
Yeah, I'm going to play the money line, but that's it. Yeah, I don't love the side or total.
So you're playing Bucks money line. What is that out right now? And how much?
I think it was minus 220, somewhere around there.
So
yeah, it shot up.
Do you play a full unit when it gets, that expensive?
No, we'll play a half unit, and I'll probably parlay it with, but we'll talk about NHL here in a little while. I think the Islanders are a great betting spot tonight. So yeah, it's going to be a combo play, but no, I'm not going to go full unit on them.
Got it. And we also had somebody ask here, like, what kind of units are you guys betting on your show? And I know Coach has said a lot, props he likes to sprinkle, that's Coach's, perspective. And I totally respect that. For me personally, if I like a prop, I'm playing it the same way. I'm playing a side, even given, yes, injuries, blowouts, anything that could happen. Same thing could happen to you in a game pick as well. Mikey, do you want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, definitely. So for me personally, it's a straight play is 1% of the bankroll. As far as how many, I think the question I saw in the chat was how many in a day. I think that as many as you have, right? As many as places you have an edge for, they are all independent plays. So maybe not, some of them are correlated, obviously, when you're talking player props in the same game. But for example, in baseball, betting on the Braves and Cardinals game has absolutely zero impact on betting on this NBA game, and it has zero impact on betting on the NHL game. So all of those events, while you may have 20 of them that happen on the same day, it's no different than if they were happening on 20 separate days, right? So that's one thing that I think that it's good to understand and separate, where betting on player props in this game and sides and totals on this game, those plays are correlated, and sometimes that can be to your advantage. Sometimes that is not to your advantage, depending on how well you understand it. But for me, it's 1% of the bankroll per play. For others, I would not recommend more than 2 to 5%, but we all have different goals, different situations. So it's really difficult to give a blanket statement just because it's not reality for it to apply across the board.
Yeah. Justin, how about you?
I'm the same way, I don't think that if you have a reason to make a bet that you should not make it because you're worried about how much you're risking on a day. That pretty much to me means you're risking too much on an individual bet, and you need to cut it back so that you can be comfortable playing whatever you feel you have an edge on, whatever you feel is a good play, without really worrying, oh man, if I go 0-6 on this card that I've built, am I done for? Am I done betting? So, again, I come from the McClure like school of thought. So I bet a pretty pure 1%, of my bankroll every time I bet on any like real play. I do have like other rules for myself. Like if I want to tail somebody, I don't do the same that I do for like my own plays, or if I'm, like I still also bet recreationally. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I don't. So I'll throw like 0.1 or 0.2 on something I'm just going to go have a good time with. I mean, there's nothing wrong with, that too, but you need to have like discipline. You need to like be sure that your bankroll is managed properly, so that if you do take losses, you're not sitting there, man, I lost 4 in a row, I'm out of money. Like you should be able to sustain 10 to 20 losses and not, be done betting forever, in my opinion.
Good stuff, guys. I want to move it over to MLB, and we got a question this morning in the chat. That was a great question about, the MLB crackdown. How has that affected your plays, and what impact have you seen? I believe was the gist of the question. Like, how are you evaluating it? And I found some great data because it does apply to, strikeout props, which I love to do. The K rate was 24.2% in April and May. It's down to 23.4% this month. Okay, that doesn't sound like a lot, but it seems it is significant. But then again, and OPS as well has gone up from 705 to 734. But here's the thing. When the weather gets warmer, there's a historic thing. So 2016 to 2019, the K rate also dipped slightly between April and May, and then June, and OPS went up 735 to 754. So separating out what is weather, what is the crackdown, I don't have enough data yet. So far, I haven't made any significant adjustments on these K props. Tonight, I have 2 over K props, Marquez and Stroman over 5.5. So I'm hoping the crackdown is not, hitting home tonight. What about you guys?
I mean, we can get go ahead, Mike. Yeah.
No, you got it. You go first.
So I was going to say, you can get a little personal with me about it. We could talk a little bit about Alex Cora, who, was the old manager of the Astros. And a statistic that I saw was that the Red Sox have had one of the biggest changes in team ERA since the Spider Tack crackdown. So, it's probably going to be a little bit more like, team to team, maybe guy to guy, like looking at like individual spin rates, because, ball clubs are going to, sort of do this together. They sit in the same pitcher's room. They all discuss strategy together. Like they're a team. They know when somebody is going to be using the sunscreen rosin combination that, allows them to like have literal like spider webs coming off of the ball sometimes, which is where it got its name. So, I think the Red Sox, we might see another game tonight or actually, I don't know if they're on the slate tonight, but last night I know they got like blown up again by the Braves. That whole series went over because the Red Sox pitching for whatever reason now isn't great. So there's little caveats to watch like that. I'm a big Yankee fan, so I don't really like Alex Cora for either reason. But I think there's some interesting data with this. It's going to be interesting to watch.
I think Justin's absolutely spot on. I think it's going to be team to team. It's going to be pitcher to pitcher. You're still going to have guys that dominate, that whether you've got Spider Tack, whether you've got nothing, right? Like there are going to be pitchers that still do their thing. But I think that, Larry, you're right. We don't have the data just yet, but we will. And you'll be able to see these probably, Justin, exactly like you said, almost immediate. And then that's when you start to track these and say, okay, this number, against X team's pitchers is getting out of hand. Let's track this and let's see where it goes, because it's going to get worse before it gets better. So I think it's one of those to where pay attention the next 7 days, 14 days, 21, 28 days, because you're going to see some trends pop up, but you're also going to see some aces that it really doesn't affect them whatsoever.
Guys, let's take on the MLB slate. Oh, Mike, did you have something there?
Just there's several pitchers that you've already seen a very significant drop in spin rate, and the stuff's just way harder to hide now because of the Baseball Savant and the StatCast data. It's just all publicly available. So you're seeing, major pitchers. I don't like to call out names, but we're going to anyway because I love to call out names. But Garrett Cole being one of them, Tyler Glasnow is one of them, Shane Bieber's one of them. You're going to see all of them take trips to the injured list as well. They're going to stop throwing some of the pitches as the stuff gets called out more because of the spin rate dropping. They're going to try and hide it. When they do so, they're going to get hit because those pitches aren't in their arsenal as much anymore. And then you're going to see them take a week or two on the injured list, let it blow over a little bit. But that's what we're starting to see already. We've seen it with Kimbrel with the Cubs as well as a relief pitcher. They all have a meaningful drop. We're talking more than 100 RPM across the board drop on every pitch. You can't hide it now because we have the RPM data on every single pitch thrown in Major League Baseball now. It's just too hard to hide. So it's funny and great because it's going to be overstated in the betting community. It's going to be overstated in a lot of places because it just happens to coincide with the tipping point on the weather transitioning to summer. We're getting really good hitting conditions. We're getting all of those things at the same time. And I think some of this is intentional on the crackdown. You're going to see scoring shoot up quite a bit in the next few months at the same time. And it gives everybody in the media something to talk about, which is how we all make money.
Well, guys, before
No, please. I was agreeing.
Okay. No, I said before we get to some of our MLB picks, we're over 100. We are giving a 1-year free subscription away. I am waiting for the winner. Jeweler, let us know who is the winner. But guys and gals, we have to get to 200. Coach is not here. If we don't get to 200 and he gets done with PFL tonight, which, there's another big Ian Parker card for tonight on PFL. If he gets done with that and sees we didn't get 200, I might be in trouble tomorrow morning. So let's get to 200 likes, guys. Okay, guys, instead of going through every single game, I'm just going to throw it out. I'm on the Mets. All the money's coming in on the Cubs. So that line has flipped. So it doesn't make me feel good, but I will still ride with Stroman over Hendricks tonight. What do you guys like tonight? Just Mikey, let's start with you. I think you're on the over in Atlanta.
Yeah, the only play I had today was the over in the Atlanta game. Got it at 9 plus 100. Of course, we have a nice bit of line movement in our favor. It is now sitting at 9.5. Looks like still the same juice, minus 105, minus 110, but the over has moved up a half a run, which has added that loss condition in there. So this is a pretty significant move in our favor. Makes a lot of sense for some of the reasons we just talked about. Extreme hitting environment overall. 2 pitchers I'm looking to pick on. I know Justin was on this game this morning as well, but that is the only game that I have an official play on at this point in the day.
What is the over record in Atlanta now?
Ooh, it's juicy.
That I do not have off the top of my head. Yeah,
I can grab it quickly. But yeah, I'll just piggyback really quick. I also like this play. I did put it up on Sportsline today. Truist has been just one of the places that you want to, hammer that over. The over at the park is 22, 12, and 2 on the season, which is, pretty significant. And again, I don't think that the weather conditions are going to be against, the ball getting hit solidly. And both offenses here have some nice players. I'm personally excited for Atlanta to get to face John Gant. He just does not have good stuff. I agree with Mike. I let him take it for the show. I put it on Sportsline, but we're both going to be playing that one tonight.
Awesome. And Allan, what about you? What do you like on the MLB card before we get back to Justin's plays?
Yeah, so first off, let me agree with Mike and Justin. I like that Braves play. You look at Atlanta's last 3 games, they scored 46 runs total, right? Now, I'm with you as well. I think the Mets are a really strong play tonight. You see Marcus Stroman. He's got a 1.88 ERA at home. The Mets are 20-6 at home, and they've won 3 straight in this series. I think that those are good plays as well. The last one that I like, you took the Brewers' money line on the road against Colorado. And this is really a pitcher's play. Brandon Woodruff, their Brewers are 76% straight up when in his starts this season with a 1.89 ERA and 2-0 in his last 3 starts. Again, and you look at where the Rockies are, they're 18-32 against right-handed pitchers this season. I think that's a great spot. So yeah, I'm with you. Like the Mets, like the Braves play, really like the Brewers tonight.
Awesome, guys. I just checked the ump out for Atlanta. It's not really a great hitter's ump. The under is 6-4 in his games, averaging 8.9 runs. Strike percentage at 62.4. So it's somewhat neutral, maybe a little bit of more of a pitcher's ump, but it's something I look at for every K prop, but you may not look at it so much.
I definitely do take a peek at that. I know Mike does a lot too. For me, it's really the 12 runs that Gant has given up in his last 2 starts. He didn't even get out of the second inning in his last appearance against the Cubs. So, no ump's going to help you with that. Let me tell you.
Now, I got a question for any of you guys can answer it right, before we move on out of baseball. We've got the Angels tonight at home against the Tigers. Shohei Ohtani is on the mound, for Los Angeles. But you look at the Tigers, they've got Matt Manning making his MLB debut. But here's a kid who obviously, is well thought of, but making his debut. And when he's in AAA Toledo, 8.7 ERA. Any thoughts that you guys have to a team like the Angels at home going against a pitcher making his debut that really hasn't been hot coming in? It's kind of been the opposite. Any thoughts there?
So I'll take this and run with it because this is my next play of the night. I am on the Angels on the run line for those exact reasons. Matt Manning, a good amount of hype surrounding him for this Detroit Tigers organization. They have some really nice names right now. Casey Mize, Tariq Skubal, these rookies that are pitching really well. Both of those guys got kind of shelled in their first starts too. And I'm on this Los Angeles Angels lineup to keep raking. They are second in weighted runs created in the last 2 weeks. I just think this is one of the worst things that this rookie could run into tonight. And Shohei Ohtani is probably going to get his maximum pitch velocity over 100 again tonight. It's been trending upwards. So I don't think the Tigers stand much of a chance here. I'm taking the Angels on the run line.
Nice.
I like that as well.
Basically, same thought. Same thoughts there. I think one interesting way to potentially attack this game still could be betting a run to be scored in the first inning if you'd like to pick on them there. I think that's an interesting way to do it. And then just if you want to live bet and watch, I'll send a link out on Twitter and tweet it out just so people can watch. With the Savant data, you can watch every pitch come in. You can watch the command. You can watch the velocity. The thing that I'll be looking for the most with a young pitcher making a debut is I'll be looking at the velocity and pitch selection differences between the first and second inning, just to see how hyped up he is to be out there for his first start, see if he's overthrowing, potentially might be overthrowing initially early in the game. There's little windows of opportunity, but you have to be quick with it. But overall, I think it's going to be a bet the run in the first inning kind of night in that one. So
yeah. Now, nice. last thought on it. And Larry, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take.
No, I was just going to say you should be the host. You should. No. You should run points. You're a natural, Allan.
No, not at all. Now, the question for you guys is this: on that same game, and we really don't get this situation much at all. So you have Manning making his MLB debut against Ohtani, but here's the thing: Ohtani rakes. He's got 2 home runs in his last 2 games. Do you see anything on a prop opportunity where he might mash on the opposite pitcher, which is a crazy question to ask, but it's just because Ohtani's that good?
Oh, yeah. Why not? I mean, I think he's definitely going up there, and he knows it's a debut and it's a fellow pitcher, and he takes it, very seriously. I'm sure this guy wants to be the MVP, and what better way than to just keep smashing home runs? I mean, he has an opportunity now if DeGrom's actually going to miss a couple games. That injury last night wasn't great for the Mets, having him leave in the 3rd inning after striking out 8 of the 9 batters. But, there's a little bit of an opening for that MVP and also for Corbin Burns with the NL Cy Young. So
he's plus 350 at William Hill to Homer tonight. Guys, congratulations to Grab and Stacks. Grab and Stacks, you have won a 1-year subscription to Sportsline. The jeweler will be in touch. And I don't know what number we're at, guys. We got to get to 200, and we're going to give away 3 more year-long subscriptions, according to the jeweler. So let's get to 200. We're at 130. Come on, 70 more. We can do that for sure.
That's easy. That's easy, guys. Come on.
Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else? Any other plays that we like on the MLB? And Allan, I think you have a College World Series play that you wanted to give out.
Yeah, I do. So you take a look at the College World Series. We've got it opening this weekend. Take a look at where you're going to get Vanderbilt because they opened up as an underdog against Arizona. And understand this, Arizona's a fantastic team, but here's the deal. Vanderbilt has played, this is going to be their 5th College World Series. In the previous 4, they've never lost an opening game. They're going up with the 2 best pitchers in college baseball. Kumar Rocker obviously is going to throw Saturday against Arizona. So keep an eye on that. You might be able to get them plus 1.5 on a run line, but even still, I think Vanderbilt wins this game. And then 2, I memean, their total is sitting around 11.5. Think about this. Vanderbilt won Friday night in their super regional against East Carolina, 2-0 with Rocker, 4-1 with Jack Leiter, who's the number 2 best pitcher in the country. So yeah, if the books are going to give you a reason to bet Vanderbilt, yeah, take them up on it.
And you could get under 11.5. It's minus 120 at William Hill. It's weird. They don't have the money lines up. They only have the run lines. Vanderbilt plus 1.5 runs is minus 160. Is that a play that you like, Allan?
Yeah, absolutely. Vanderbilt should win this game outright because, again, Kumar Rocker's arguably going to be the number 1 pick in the country in the draft. He already was 2 years ago as a freshman. He's that good. Vanderbilt's that good. And, again, you look at what Tim Corbin and the Commodores have done. They've never lost an opening game. Now, knock on wood, but they're just that good of a program. I'm jumping all over it. Now,
I know, Allan, that you're based close to the program. Are you a homer? Is there any homer bias going on?
No, not at all. I mean, it's just what Vanderbilt does. I mean, they are legitimately, if you had any college baseball team that would look like a major league team, it's Vanderbilt. They hit well. They don't go crazy on, anything. They just are just 5-tool type of team that can pitch well, hit well, field well. They're managed well. If the books are giving me, a reason to bet them, they're giving me runs with Vanderbilt. Yeah, they win this game outright.
All right, because I want to track this play. I mean, I'm going to hop on this play, but I want to know, I just did see the money line here, minus 121 on the money line, or would you rather take them plus 1.5 runs and lay 160? I think because you said you like them to win, let's just play the money line and save the juice.
Yeah, I love that money line. I love the under 11.5 as well. But yeah, save the juice, ride that money line. They're a phenomenal team, especially when Rocker's on the mound.
All right, so this game is Saturday, 7 p.m. We're on Vanderbilt. This is an official play for the early edge, minus 121. Allan Bell's first official play on the edge. I love it.
Love it.
Love it. All right, Justin, what else you got? You have some other MLB plays today.
Yeah. So I gave one out on the early edge, and it's moved a little bit too much, and I didn't really want to put it on Sportsline, but I took the over in the Mets game tonight. I had a little bit of an anticipation that there was going to be a little bit of love for the Cubs. I mean, Walker has a little bit of his expected numbers aren't as good as his real numbers. And that's kind of because he's just really, really, really doing well. And it's just a little unsustainable. But I took the over at 7 this morning on the show. So if anyone got that, you're looking at a little bit of closing line value. It's back up to 7.5 now. So I'm on that play for myself and for the show, but then again, wasn't really going to put it on Sportsline at 7.5. I do think we might put, there's a real chance we push. So I really want that push condition. Sure. And then I am going to take the contrarian overplay for the Seattle Mariners and the Tampa Bay Rays. This is a pretty big fade of Justin Dunn. I don't really like the way he pitches. I think the Rays are going to have a pretty, decent time hitting him tonight. And on the other side, I think that the Mariners have been pretty sneaky in putting up runs. I mean, you don't equate the Mariners with being, an above average run scoring team, but they have been in the last couple of weeks. So I think them being at home, not having to travel, they should be able to score a couple runs here. And Rich Hill away from Tropicana Field, it is a little bit of a downgrade for him. Again, Seattle, T-Mobile Park is a pretty good pitching environment, which is why the under does get favorited here. But, a couple games have been going over in the last couple weeks here, and I think it's attributed to the Mariners' increased offensive production. So I'm backing the over again tonight to go over 8.5.
I like it. Mikey, any other baseball plays where you have a lean? And then I want to get back to Bucks Nets because we've just gotten another prop play in from Prop Stars. But Mikey, anything else on the baseball slate jumping out at you tonight?
Honestly, not really. I liked that Cubs-Mets game at 7. I don't like it as much at 7.5 as well. The Yankee game, Blue Jays, I could lean under there just slightly. based on the ballpark they're playing in, the weather conditions. That one opened at 11, sitting at 10.5. I like it still at 10.5. I think that 10 is the appropriate number, sitting at 9.8 in the simulations, but didn't end up playing it. Powerful offenses always make me nervous, especially with this pitching matchup. But if I had to make another play, it would be the under in that Yankees-Blue Jays game.
Okay, I like it. Allan, any final thoughts on MLB before we get back to Nets Bucks?
Yeah, I've got my eye on the Reds tonight at the Padres in San Diego. Look, the Reds have won 6 straight. 5 of those, they only gave up 3 runs or fewer. They're 11-3 so far this month in June. And Wade Miley's won 3 straight. And if you look at the Reds in their last 7 games compared to the Padres, they're averaging nearly double the amount of runs. So I'm not putting it as any kind of official play, but I've got my eye on that one. That could be a nice little opportunity.
I was looking at that also, but the Padres 11-5 against lefties. I believe it's the first game with a full crowd. They're calling it like the reopening. So it could be a good atmosphere there. I stayed away, but I see your point totally. The Reds is a big dog.
I want to jump in on that game really quickly. I know one of the hottest experts, baseball experts at Sportsline right now, John Bullman, is actually going to be taking the Reds tonight. And when I went over that game tonight, I really felt like they had a good shot too. Something about, for me, I've been doing it all year. I've been talking about it a lot. Teams that are traveling from Colorado, which the Padres just finished a series in the Rockies, coming back now to a pitching environment like this, it's going to be really tough for them to see the ball and that air density difference from like the 40 air density index to like the 66 plus that you have for San Diego. It's going to be a big deal. I really do think that the Reds have some value on that basis alone. You could see an awful offensive night for the Padres, and it's just going to be befuddling a little bit, but it has a lot to do with playing in much denser air and pitches breaking a lot more than they do in Colorado.
And this is what we get a lot of time. Oh, sorry, Mike. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to add one note to that too. For just an alternative bet, if someone wants to, this is a rare situation where I'd like to bet the plus money or the plus 1.5 run line. If you're on William Hill and some of the other sports books, you can actually grab an alternate line of +1, meaning that if they lose by 1 run, you're not cashing the ticket, you're pushing it. So it'd be a void, no bet. But if you do that, you can get the Reds +1 at even money, where you're laying 0 juice on it, but you're still getting that protection there if they lose a 1-run game, which we see very, very, very frequently in San Diego.
Okay, I like it. Now, guys, we just got in another player prop. I want to go back to Nets Bucks. And Prop Stars Alex Selesnik has released Middleton under 36.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He said it's really hard to fade a guy who's going to get a ton of minutes and is one of their, obviously go-to scorers, but he projects him at 34. He says the Nets have an underrated defense, and, Middleton's been struggling, only averaging just under 34 points, rebounds, and assists. He just feels it's inflated because of the night, because of the moment, and he's going under 36.5 on Chris Middleton. So if I recap the 4 props that we've given out from Prop Stars and from Mad Max, Prop Stars under 36.5 on Middleton, points, rebounds, assists, over 7.5 assists on James Harden. Mad Max on under 24.5 points, rebounds for Drew Holiday, over 16.5 points, rebounds for Blake Griffin. And I'm just going to go on record saying, yes, I'm on the Bucks. I'm going to lay the 5.5. I'm going to make it a real small play, but I don't like all this fence sitting. That's the game of the night, and I'm going to be on that. I'm going to go head. I'm going to go head to head with Zach.
There you go.
I like it.
It's going to be a good one.
I have one more little play there, or at least one that I'd like to talk about. I saw the question in the chat earlier when we talked about this game. Pat Connaughton. I do like some of his player props here. One in particular is the PAR, points, assists, rebounds. It's sitting at 12.5 at plus money at this point. This is one that I think that as long as he's getting that 20 to 30 minutes, we've only seen it in 2 of the games so far in this series. If he gets anywhere as close to those number of minutes, I think it's going to be great for him. If this game turns into a blowout in any way, shape, or form, he's going to get that extended run as someone who they would trust and want to leave out there on the floor. My median number on it is 13.9. You can get it at 12.5 at plus 105 at William Hill. Like that one a bit. And if you like those plus money obscure props, Bruce Brown over on the 1.5 assists.
Okay, so now we've given out 6 props for this game that we're going to track, 6 props from the live stream. I love the Pat Connaughton play because I just hope they don't ask him to guard Durant, but he's getting the most minutes of the subs, and they keep tightening the rotation. Portis did not get in the game in Game 5, which was
probably for the best. Probably for the
stunning.
best, honestly.
Yeah,
but I'll give out one more little play that I was actually talked about. So this isn't going to be basketball. I'm not going to play this game tonight. I think the lines are pretty accurate. But in baseball, I talked about John Gant. Well, I'm really going to load up against him. I think that you can go ahead and take the Braves on the run line tonight if you want to play them. I know they're a pretty steep favorite. They were around minus 190, getting close to 200 or so last time that I checked. But I really think that, the departure from Gant's performance around the league average has been so significant in the last 50 plate appearances that you're just like, what is going on? Like, he has essentially given up 12 runs in less than 6 innings after not giving up 6 runs in like the whole. No, he had given up 12 runs in the entire year, and now he's given up 12 runs in the last 6 innings. So something's really off. I think the Atlanta Braves are just going to clobber him tonight. I don't hate the Braves team total. I don't hate the Braves on the run line. All over the Braves. And if I miss, you can give me stuff for it tomorrow on the morning show. So.
All right, a ton of plays, and I don't want to ignore the NHL playoffs. I don't think any of us here consider ourselves serious hockey experts. No. I know I don't, but there are 2 guys on the site that definitely are, and I love to see them on the same side. John Bowman, who we talked about, a Canadian who definitely knows the sport. He's on the Isles plus 20, and Jeff Hockman, a guy I recruited specifically for his hockey record. He is on the Islanders plus 125. He got a plus 125. Bowman got it later, I believe, at plus 120. The home road splits with the Isles are dramatic. They took a lot of penalties. If they can stay out of the penalty box, both of these guys think that they've got a great shot to win and are worth the play as the underdog. Any thoughts on the playoffs, guys?
Yeah, I do. Let me say this. I love that play. I'm going to ride Islanders plus 1.5. I'm going to parlay that with the Bucks money line tonight, try to get a little bit of juice back. We'll see where we're at. But look, the Islanders 25-9 at home this year. And if you look at Tampa, they played 7 road playoff games this season. They've only won 2 of them by more than 2 goals or more. And here's the thing. You got a live play opportunity tonight because, look, the Islanders have not held a first period lead in the postseason. However, they have outscored opponents in the second period 19-9. So if the Islanders go down, into the first period, they're down 1-0, maybe even 2-0, whatever it is, I'm going to do it live play in the second period. They've been money.
So you are going to, that's minus 235 at plus 1.5 goals. But you're going to parlay that with the Bucks on the money line. And that should be a pretty good bet there. Probably wonder what would you get back for that? Do you know?
No, I don't have it pulled up in front of me. It's probably minus 175, somewhere around there, maybe even a little bit better than that. But yeah, it's not going to be great, but I like both of those plays tonight. I think they're just both good spot bets tonight.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, it'll be plus 109 at William Hill.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Bucks money line, Islanders plus 1.5. If you're taking them on the puck line to be within 1 goal at the end, it'll be plus 109 at William Hill.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you.
And the money is definitely, Hockman was last night at plus 125. Bowman was this morning at 120. Now it's plus 115. So all the money coming in on the Islanders for this game tonight. Guys, any parting shots before we go?
Bet responsibly. Manage your bankroll well. Don't overextend. There's nothing wrong with passing on a game. You do not have to bet on every game on a slate. And if you really want to do that, make sure you're really doing it at a level that you can afford. There's nothing wrong with taking small profits. Nobody ever lost money taking a profit.
Guys, let me say this. It's an absolute honor to be on with you guys. I've enjoyed it. Obviously, you guys are the best. So yeah, thank you much for having me. Everyone tuning in, thank you so much for having me as well.
Allan, you have earned a return trip, especially if Vanderbilt wins that game. I don't follow the College World Series, but now I'm invested. Invested.
And here's the question, right? Vanderbilt is the outstanding favorite in the futures market to win the entire thing, but they're going to lose the first game. I don't buy it.
I don't buy it. Mikey, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. Just good luck tonight. It's going to be a great night.
All right. Thanks, everyone. We will catch you tomorrow morning on the Early Edge.
Do you want best bets in your feed every single day? All you have to do is hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things Early Edge.